I'm here with a community of playbackers, Africa-based playbackers, and we started an online playback project in November called Africa Connect. And it was really an opportunity to try as best we can with Zoom to come together and share our real life moments and stories about what it means to live in Africa, what it means to connect or disconnect in Africa, to Africa. And our group was small and still is small, and we are hoping to grow it as best we can, obviously faced with socio-economic contexts and challenges that relate to that. And for 4 weeks, we did come together every Monday and we explored different themes, African encounters, what it means to perform and engage with playback and storytelling beyond English. So exploring mother tongues that we had within the group, and what it means really for us as Africa playbackers to come together and the challenges that relate to that. Bonface Beti from Nairobi and I had started a conversation a few months prior to November, and it was our dream to create this platform. And it's really exciting for us for the first time to be sharing this rehearsal process with you, ITAC, and your related community. Damilola from Nigeria should be with us. I can't see him on the chat. I'm just wondering if he is there. Damilola, just make yourself known. I know that connectivity might be against us, and some of our members might not be here. Bonface, I wonder if you want to just share a little bit about your partnership in this process.
Thank you very much, Tarryn, and everyone who is here, all my friends and people that we are connected in one or the other. I'm also very honored to have the founder of Playback Theatre in this group, Jonathan Fox. It's a great honor to have you, and also many other people like my teacher, where I'm taking my PhD class at the University of Manitoba, Graham Lee, Leah. So it's a great honor, and many other people. But I would like to take this opportunity to say, first of all, I am a peace builder, artist peace builder, and I have worked in most of the conflicts in Africa, in Somalia, Sierra Leone, Rwanda, and most of the conflicts that we know. But I started as an artist before I became a peace builder. So I started to experiment with different types of theater of the oppressed until I went to graduate school in Canada, in Winnipeg, and I got in touch with a local playback theater troupe in Winnipeg called the Red Threads Playback Theater for Peace. That is where I learned playback theater. And when I came back, actually that troupe introduced me to Tarryn Lee. They said she's a member of the International Playback Theatre Association, and I should get in touch. So I got in touch and we started to have very constructive conversations. So basically, I would like to say what brings me to playback theatre is my interest in, as an African, my lived experience in transforming structural violence in my continent and in other countries. But mainly because of the goals of playback theatre, which includes, as I quote, reflection by Anne Ellinger of true story theatre, that everyone deserves to be heard, that everyone counts, that we are each unique, yet all the same, and that you are not alone, and that we can overcome deep differences. Right now, we are just, the world is in a post-pandemic mode, but also we have the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, and that we can overcome deep differences, we can heal together, and the magic happens when we work as a team. And that is the genesis of the African Connect Playback Troupe. Thank you for that, Tarryn.
I just want to add that Playback is a relevant and important socio-political tool. It's meta theatre. It is aware of being theatre. It seeks to break the boundaries between audience and actors. There is no illusion of a separation or a separate world. It's really about creating community dialogue and about breaking down boundaries between audience and actors. In fact, that we are all one. And very much it's exactly that. It's playing back the story, the real life moments and stories of people. And to understand the world from a people-centered perspective. So thank you for joining us, RTAC community, RPTN community, fellow playbackers in Africa. And we are going to start our process. So, Sheree, could you mention a bit of tech for us, please?
All right. So I know that this evening is, or for us this evening, for other parts around the world, this morning, this afternoon, this day is a little different. We are inviting you into a fishbowl experience, and so there are different layers of who's observing our Africa Connect rehearsal and who's inside the fishbowl. And so just correct me, Tarryn, everyone inside the fishbowl is anyone who is connected to the continent of Africa, from Africa. You might not be living in Africa at the moment, but Africa is your place of home, the place that you call home. And everyone else that's joining us today is on the outside of the fishbowl, just witnessing those in Africa or from Africa finding a moment to connect through playback theatre. And so my take is twofold, very different, depending on whether you're on the outside of the fishbowl or whether you're on the inside of the fishbowl. But there are things that I want to draw to everyone's attention. And one of those things is just for you to be familiar with your microphone and your video. The icons, which you will find at the bottom of your screen on Zoom. And we're going to ask that everyone keeps themselves muted, especially if you're on the outside of the fishbowl, you're going to be muted and your video is going to be off. So you're going to switch your video on and off. You can do so now if you so wish, so that you can prepare yourself. And everyone on the inside of the fishbowl to be familiar with where your unmute and your stop video icons are, because for the duration of our Africa Connect moment, you'll be invited by Tarryn Lee to switch your video on or off. So again, if you are on the outside of the fishbowl, you won't listen to the instructions given by Tarryn when she asks to switch your videos on or switch your videos off, because you will stay off for the duration of our connected moment. And at some point when we're done with our connect, everyone in the fishbowl will be invited back on and Madeleine will continue thereafter. All right, so the next thing that I just want to make sure everyone, and this is for everyone outside the fishbowl, inside the fishbowl, to make sure that you keep your view on gallery view. So if you are on a laptop, on a computer, and you hover your cursor over the right-hand corner of your screen, you'll find different viewing options: gallery view, speaker view. To go onto gallery view allows you to see our performers and allows you to see the full team as they have their discussion in Africa Connect. Please don't be on speaker view, otherwise the viewing experience will be so limiting for you. Another way to enhance your engagement with what we do is to make sure that you have hidden non-video participants. So can I ask for everyone to actually switch their cameras off? And I'm just going to stop sharing for a second. And if you only see me, then you don't have to do the next step. But if you see me and all the other small empty black boxes, then you're going to have to follow my instructions for the next bit. But if you only see my face and Larry and Hisuk Lee, if you see just these two screens, you don't need to follow my instructions, okay? But if you see all the other black boxes with everybody's names, please follow my instructions. And they go as follows. I'm going to ask that you locate your stop video icon at the bottom left of your screen. If you hover your cursor over there, it says stop video and there's a little caret pointing upwards. If you click on that caret, a window will open, a small little box will open, and it gives various options. Click on video settings. And once you click on video settings, a new window will open in front of you. In that new video, there are several options for you to uncheck or check. If you're working on a laptop or a computer, we ask that you please select hide non-video participants. This option allows you to have a stage viewing for our Africa Connect moment. It sets the stage. It allows you to see just the performers and those who are on camera. It allows you to see just them. So if you click on that, you can close everything else. If you are on a cell phone, however, if you're on a cell phone, you'll have to do a cell phone or a tablet, you'll have to do a different process. If you tap on your screen, the following options come in front of you: mute, start video, share content, participants, and more with 3 little dots. If you click on the more with 3 little dots, a new little window will open up for you, and there are options there that say security, chat, meeting settings. Please click on meeting settings. And in meeting settings, you'll see another little window. And instead of making sure that you select this option, for you on a cell phone or a tablet, you will make sure that it actually is selected. So you'll see it, if it's unselected, please select it. Okay. And this is just going to help us set the stage. So if you're on a phone or a tablet, make sure that that is selected. It actually shows green. So that you can, it is unselected. Ooh, what am I saying? It's unselected. It must not show green. So we don't want you to show non-video participants. Okay, that's if you're on a cell phone or on a tablet. Okay, so I think if you are having any problems, you're welcome to write to me in the chat, but that's all. And again, if you are on the outside of the fishbowl, you won't need to be clicking on and clicking off your video. If you are on the inside of the fishbowl, in other words, you are a part of this conversation where we as Africans are connecting, then you'll follow the instructions by Tarryn Lee.
Thank you, Sheree. So an invitation to everybody, whether you are on the outside of the fishbowl or whether you are inside the fishbowl, I invite you to check in. If you were a word in your mother tongue, what word would you be today? It's an invitation to everybody, and you can write that word in the chat. What word would you be in your mother tongue if you could be a word today? Let's flood our chat. Great. So I'm going to count us down from 3 to 1. And when I do, please unmute yourself and verbalize your word in your mother tongue. Say it out loud. Say it 3 times. Let's go for it. Take a deep breath in. Check that you've unmuted yourself. 3, 2, 1. Right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. So I'm going to focus now in on Fishbowl team. If you can check in, please, with your name and just a short phrase, a sentence. What is your connection or disconnection to Africa today? And everybody who's not the team, you can just turn your video off for now.
Yeah, I'll go, Tarryn. Well, my name is, right now, my mother tongue name is Muchera, means river. And what connects me to Africa Connect is the fact that as an African, my desire and ambition is always to connect with my brothers and sisters in other states, in other countries in Africa. And it has inspired what we are currently working on. Playback Theatre has managed to connect us. I'm sorry, I see my internet is a little bit shaky, but I'm just saying my connection to Africa is that I want to be in every African country at the same time, and there should be no borders.
Thank you, Bonface.
Katala. My connection to Africa is even with my work, never mind the fact that I'm living in Johannesburg Central, where there are people from all over. And I'm fascinated about knowing about other places because I wanna be everywhere as well, Bonface. And even with my work, like African songs, African dance, African origin, like I'm Africa. Yeah.
Thank you, Katala.
Katala and Bonface, you've started me. So I'd also, for me, so my name is Warren and I'm based in Johannesburg, but my love of Africa is being able to cross the border. Nothing gives me more joy and pleasure than crossing the border in Africa. And the image that comes up for me are steamy, beautiful sunsets across the ocean and palm trees.
Thank you, Warren.
I'll go. My connection to Africa is music. I love African music. I also love to connect with the food as well and the children, because the years I've been working with kids, so I wish I could meet the kids from other countries here in Africa as well, just to see the dynamics and, you know, yes, yeah.
Please affirm your name for us.
My name is Abu. Sorry
Thank you.
about that.
Hello. Hey there. My name is Dwayne, and to piggyback off Katala, I also stay in Joburg, that is this massive metropolitan city with all these travelers passing through. But my connection, or where I feel most connected to Africa, is when I travel down to a small town in the Western Cape called Hermanus, and I've got a friend there named McDonald from Malawi, and I feel connected when we share a meal and talk about our families and what's happening in his country, and I try to give him context about what's happening in this country. Yeah.
Thank you, Dwayne.
I can go. Can you hear me? Hello, my name is Lutando. I'm based in Sweden. My disconnection in Africa is corruption. I think with so much potential that Africa has, corruption takes a lot of that potential out in a way, or it shadows it. So that's my disconnection with it. And I think if there was no corruption, I mean, there's corruption everywhere, but if there was no corruption, we could have seen so many beautiful talents, so many beautiful things blooming in Africa.
Thank you, Lutando.
My name is Sheree, and also like with Lutando, I have a disconnection to share, and my disconnection is the amnesia or the story that's not told, for example, in South Africa, pre-1652, right? My disconnection is the disconnection with the story pre-colonization. And it's those stories that I'm so disconnected from that make me feel disconnected to the land and the people.
Thank you, Sheree. Mine is a disconnection, a moment of disconnect. I've been sitting for a week with a story about orphans in inner city Johannesburg. I'm working with an art counseling center, and I'm just hearing the stories that are part of their everyday. And children that don't have a home, and the disconnect with the young people of not only our country, but of our entire continent, that don't have a sense of belonging. And they could be local, they could be immigrants, it doesn't matter, they're children. And I'm left with that feeling of disconnect. Thank you for our check-ins. So let's just take a deep breath in. Roll the shoulders back. Take your hands and just rub them onto your knees, squeeze your knees. Make contact with your body. Give your shoulders a squeeze. Again, just find your deep breath. So check in, are you holding your breath? And breathe out fully. Exhale and soften the belly. And take another deep breath in. And release. And I'm going to hand over to Katala to do a vocal warm-up for us. Go for it.
Okay. So we're gonna, I kind of have two songs, but we'll see what time will take us. I have a Sesotho, Setswana song, Why bona bona bona? Say it after me.
And I'm just going to pause there. I'm going to actually invite our whole inside fish tank to join us. So if you are in Africa, if you Africa connected, that means that you are part of our inside fish tank. You are welcome to turn on your cameras now for our vocal warm-up, and then we'll do a physical with Lutando. So carry on, Katala. You're welcome to turn on your videos, fellow Africans.
Okay. Why bona bona?
Why bona
bona bona bona? 3 times. Say it after me, please.
Want us to unmute?
Please do. Unmute.
Everyone unmute, and you're welcome to come online.
Unmute. Unmute, Shireen. Unmute, Shireen.
Sorry, I'm doing technical stuff as well, Katala.
Okay.
Katya. Why bona bona bona?
Why bona bona bona?
bona.
Twenty.
Why
Okay, let's start again. Why bona bona bona?
Why bona bona bona?
Twenty.
Twenty.
Yeah, that's a monkey. So
why bona
why bona 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 20? Why bona 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 20? So okay, there's a
why
beat.
bona really
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Why bona 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 20? Why bona 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 20? Why bona bona
bona
20? Why bona
I
bona
wanna bona 20.
Why
I
bona
wanna bona 20.
Why bona 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 20? Okay. Okay. So it's a call and respond, eh? So you can either call or you respond. When you respond, you just respond with 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. Yeah, are we there? Okay. Okay. Call. Abweng.
Yes. Yes.
Why bona 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 20? Why bona bona bona? Why bona 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 20? Why bona bona bona? Why bona bona bona? Bona bona. Why bona 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 20? Why bona bona bona? Why bona 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 20? 20. Why bona bona bona? 20. Why bona bona bona? 20. Why bona bona bona? 20. 20. Why bona bona bona? 20. Bona bona bona. 20. Why bona bona bona? 20. Okay, so that's our first song. Can we go into another one? Imini enkulu. Namhlanje. Siyajabula. Imini enkulu. Namhlanje. Siyajabula. Okay. Imini enkulu namhlanje siyajabula. siyajabula. Imini
I think the words in the chat.
Siyajabula. Siyajabula.
Imini enkulu namhlanje
Siyajabula.
Siyajabula.
Imini
enkulu namhlanje siyajabula. Siyajabula.
Imini
enkulu namhlanje
Siyajabula.
Siyajabula.
Imini enkulu namhlanje
Siyajabula.
Jabula.
Imini
enkulu namhlanje siyajabula.
Jabula.
Imini enkulu namhlanje
Siyajabula.
siyajabula.
Imini nathi namhlanje
Siyajabula.
Jabula.
Imini enkulu namhlanje siyajabula.
Jabula.
Imini enkulu namhlanje siyajabula. Imini enkulu namhlanje siyajabula. Siyajabula. Imini enkulu namhlanje siyajabula.
Jabula.
Imini enkulu namhlanje siyajabula.
Jabula. Jabula.
Thank you, Kapala.
Thank you.
Over to you, Latando.
So I just had to explain with this one, especially this one, because we are meeting for the first time with people all over the globe. And this is an important day. It's an exciting moment. And that's what the song is. And we are happy to be here.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Just once again, extending the invitation to anyone who is Africa connected. So if you are in the audience and you are from Africa, please, you are invited to join us in this warm up in this. So I'm just one more time inviting the Africa connected people.
Your time, Lutando, go for it.
Right. Okay. So we'll just start with warming up our face and just waking up your facial muscles. Waking up your muscles, going up. Yeah, you can make the sounds if you want. Going up, going up. Make sure also you tap here just behind the ears. Tap behind the ears and you go on the head. The head. Just tapping, just waking up those muscles behind the head. Going on the neck. There we go. And then you start tapping yourself from the hand upwards, going up a bit. Tap, 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 tap your shoulder. And then side. And then go into your chest. Tap your chest, tap your chest. You hold hands. Go to the other hand. And then you can try and tap your back, your back. And you can tap your right thigh. Tap your right thigh going down to your feet. Tap, 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 waking up. Then tapping your left leg. Tap, 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 tap. Going up to your feet. And now we're gonna just make circle with your wrist. Circle, circle, circle your right wrist, circle. Start going up to your elbow. Circling with your elbow, the whole hand up to your shoulder. Circling that. And then we drop that. And then we're doing the same thing. Circle, and we circle, and we circle. We go to the elbow, and then it goes up, it goes up, it goes up, and then we drop it. So, hands in your belly button. So we form a sign like this, we place it here. You deep breath in and out. In and out. One more time, in and out. In, and then the hands go up here. And then when we're here, we take the breath out, we stretch the hands to the side, and you go breathe out and make sure you try to be flat as you can, up across, and you breathe in one more time, and it comes back, and then it goes around. You breathe in again here, and then maybe we do the second one again, out. And then like a dragon, it goes up. You look on your left where it came from, and then it goes up. You look on your right, and then you're up on your tippy toes. And then you drop the hands. And then you're going back to the first position. We breathe in. We go. Right across, and then we come back, we breathe in again. We're going for the circle, we breathe out. In for another circle, looking on where the circle is, and then we breathe out. Breathe in, it goes up. Breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Tippy toes, and then we drop it. We're going back to the first position. Breathe in. We go. 1. Breathe in the circle. and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. We're going up, in, and out. In, tippy toes, and out. And the last one. Breathe in, and we go. We breathe in, circle, out, in, out, and it goes out, in, and the tippy toes. And we go back to the first position. And just relax and breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. And just shake it, shake, 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 shake. Just make sounds if you can. Shake, 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 shake. There we go. Thank you. Thank you, Tarryn.
Thank you, Lutando. All right, we're going to move into playing, starting with moments. So I invite anybody who is part of Africa, connected to Africa, you're on for the moment. And to start off, a moment related to your connection or disconnection to Africa. And when we play, I'm going to announce 4 players who will play the fluid. And Abuweng, if you can do music for us. What is your connection or disconnection to Africa? Where are you now in Africa? Bonface.
Yeah, I'll go first. So the first time I shared about, okay, some feedback. So the first time I shared about my connection to Africa, but I remembered also I have a disconnection to Africa because of especially the story. Someone talked about corruption, but also the story, like for me, is actually the rampant problem right now of human trafficking.
And whereabouts are you, Bonface?
I am in Nairobi, Kenya, and there's this huge problem of human trafficking from East Africa to Southern Africa.
And what is that, knowing of this, what is that like for you?
It makes me very sad.
Makes you very sad. Let's see Bonface's moment. Katala, Warren, Christine, and Lutando. Everybody else, turn your camera off. Abuweng on music. This is Bonface's moment. Let's watch.
Segwanele, enough is enough. Segwanele.
Thank you, actors. Bonface.
Yeah, that really captured the essence of how I'm feeling that story. So thank you very much, actor, for capturing the essence.
Thank you, Bonface.
Thank you.
All actors, all African connected players and audience. You can join us again, perhaps another moment, having witnessed Bonface's moment or reflecting on your check-in. Warren.
Yeah, it's an extension, and it's a connect and a disconnect. And it's about our very current global predicament. So for me, I have lived in moments coming from South Africa, as Sheree was talking about, like living with a blanket of shame at times, and then crossing the border and experiencing quite the opposite. Liberation, freedom, connectivity. And then when freedom came to my country, I experienced exhilaration and a liberation that you can't even begin to imagine. And you know, the USSR was a key player in helping liberate my country. But today, things have changed. The world has changed. And today, my country doesn't want to speak in the face of an inhumane, brutal invasion of another country, Ukraine. And for me, it leaves me feeling very sad, incredibly sad and disconnected, really.
Thank you, Warren. Actors Dwayne, Sheree, Abueng, and Bonface, and Katala on music. Warren's moment, my country doesn't want to speak. Remember to play from the teller's perspective. Let's watch.
Zizwe sakithi, hey, qaphelani lungani, isintu sithi, isintu sakudala, ilifa lezithutha, lidliwa ngabahlakaniphileyo.
South Africa, the world, me, South Africa, the world, and you.
Have we forgotten about this? Have we forgotten about this?
Not yet.
Have we forgotten about this?
Not yet.
But why? Well, why? Why?
We've forgotten. Forgotten.
But
Have we forgotten about this?
We need action. We need action. We
Not
need
yet Uhuru, not yet Uhuru, not yet Uhuru, not yet Uhuru.
Thank you, actors. Warren.
I'm very moved and not yet Uhuru, because until we liberate ourselves, we can't understand what it means, what freedom means for others.
Not yet Uhuru. Perhaps a moment where you felt two things at the same time. Does anybody have a moment to share where they may have felt two conflicting or opposing emotions or responses at the same time? I see your hand, Bonface, but I'm going to go to Katala. We can return to you later. Thank you. Katala, go for it.
So there's these kids that I work with at Timbuktu in the valley. So
Timbuktu, is it a name of a school or a community site?
it's an NGO.
Tell us more.
Based in Troyville. So most of the kids in that group, I will say like 98% of those kids, their parents are not South Africans. And
so migrant children.
Yeah. So for instance, like during lockdown, the schools were closed. And then the schools were open. And the schools were closed again and they were open. But when it comes to them, unlike any other South African, they are asked a ridiculous amount of money to register, to re-register their kids back to the schools.
So as foreign nationals, the parents need to pay a large amount of money, more than a national.
More than, yeah, I mean, these are government schools. Government schools, you don't pay, or maybe you pay a little, I don't know. But like they ask a ridiculous amount of money and they don't have it. It's locked down, the parents are not working, they can barely afford a meal. Hence the pop-up non-school came up.
Just say that again, the pop-up, what came up?
The pop-up non-school.
Okay.
So then if they don't go to school, especially them, when they don't go to school, then they get lectures. Like Timbuktu asks for volunteers. They get students from UJ, you know, and it's like a school, but it's not a school. So they can keep up with the education system while they're not in school.
The energy and the time of volunteers who give of their resources to Timbuktu. What is your connection to Timbuktu?
Well, I went through, my connection was through Mvuso project. And I, because it's a non-school, so they're focusing on on everything that the education department is about, the curriculum. And as part of the curriculum, I brought in the life skills, the creative arts.
So you're an educator of creative arts and life skills, and that's what you've been contributing in the space.
Yes, through Mvuso.
Is there a conflict of responses here in your moment for you personally, Katala?
Not really, but like it's just that thing. Like, why do they have to? Like, these kids can go to school with everyone else, like their friends. Why are they being isolated from their friends because the parents cannot afford this amount of money that the school is demanding from them?
And are you still connected to Timbuktu?
Yes.
As an
Still,
educator?
very strong. They're beautiful kids.
Just share something about that. What does it mean for you as an educator to work in that space?
Like, those kids, they make me work. First of all, like, I get there and they're already in the space. I go to, because we work in different spaces. Timbuktu is got their own building, and then we work in the venues, in different venues. So I will go to Timbuktu to collect my file, a register file, and I ask where the kids are. And I'm told, like, they with me, they went to see me. So they went into the venue. I get in there, the kids, they are stretching. They are so, like, man, I have to constantly say, like, kids, no, it's time up. They always want for more. Always.
Thank you, Katala.
It's my happy space.
It's your happy place, happy space.
Yes, with them, yeah.
This is a 3-part story. It's more than a moment. We're going to see this in a short narrative form. 3-part story. So I'm going to choose 3 actors, and each actor showing a different component of what it means for Katala to work at Timbuktu School. It's more than a school also. It's an after-school program combined with a schooling program. Abueng on music, Dwayne, Lutando, and Shireen. Everybody else, turn your cameras off. Please unmute yourself, actors. We need to hear and see the teller's voice in one of these frames. Please leave your frame and you will enter when it is your part to play. Let's watch.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Coming now, oh, coming now, coming now, oh, coming now, coming now, oh, coming now, coming now, oh, coming now. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Just too much. More. You want more? How much more? How much more do you want? This is my last. Take it. Take it.
Stop. You cannot keep on disconnecting these kids from their lives, from their friends, from their... Oh. Stop. We need to do something. We need... These kids need us.
Guys, are you doing, guys? I hope you are doing some, oh, wow. You guys are stretching. Hey, this is nice. Wow, I'm so impressed. Wow, Bantwana Bam, this is beautiful to watch. You make me so happy. Wow, I love this.
Coming now, oh, coming now, coming now, oh, coming now, coming now, oh, coming now, coming now, oh, coming now.
Thank you, actors. Katala, thank you for your story. So we're sharing a little more than a moment now. We're moving into stories. And I wonder if there is another story sitting here in our Africa Connect community from our team or from our Africa Connected audience members. Abueng.
Yes, Tarryn. So I don't know whether it's a story or it's just a share. So what happened today, we are from a performance and we were in the car in Katala, and Katala shared a very painful story of a child. I'm still disturbed by now, even now, of a child who was being raped since grade 1, and now she's in grade 3. So since after hearing that, I'm not okay, because I think I've put myself in her shoes, that child, that like, what sense of a person who could do that to a child? So since from the show, I wasn't feeling okay. Even I went to my mom and then talked to her, and she comforted me, and I came home. And whilst I arrived here at home, I just received some good news that the audition that I went to, I've got the part, and I'm gonna be part of that facilitation group. So I was happy, but like now, because I wanted this facilitation group so much, and reading that email made me excited, because I got excited, but I'm hindered even now thinking of that child. I don't know. I'll pray obviously for her and for me as well, because I'm disturbed by those news. I can't imagine that, But on the other side, I'm feeling grateful for hard working that I did, because at the end it paid well as well. Yeah.
So this is an experience from your day to day, Abueng, 2 very different experiences as part of your day. One, learning a story from Patala earlier, as you were driving in the car after a playback performance of a child, a grade 1 child being raped. And now she's in grade 3 and she's still living that situation. And you learned of that story. And then your experience of receiving a place on and you auditioned for something and you got in. So 2 very different feeling responses in relation to that. I'd like to see Abueng's moment in a pair of her experience today. Christine and Lutando. It's a pair, so both of you will be on the screen. One capturing Abueng's pain that she is feeling in relation to this child who has suffered greatly. And Abueng is also a mother. And then receiving very positive news about a job possibility that she has just received. These are her experiences. Abueng's day. Let's see this in a pair. Let's watch.
She's a child. A child. So small.
Got it. I got it.
It's not
I
fair.
got it. I got it.
It's not fair.
I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it.
Only a child.
Got it.
Thank you, actors. Abueng.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. How are we doing? I invite another moment or story. What does it mean to be in Africa within our context? Sheree.
Yeah, I don't, it's maybe not a story, but just, I'm just thinking, you know, how desensitized we are in Africa to pain, to suffering, to poverty, to, Warren was talking about, you know, responding to violence, to war, because we are constantly faced with this on our continent, you know. And I'm just sitting here right now, just having heard Abueng's story and going, so desensitized to it. Or it's so part of our everyday lived experience.
Can you share a specific moment where you felt particularly desensitized? Or is it focusing in on this moment of hearing Abu's story?
You know, it is focused on hearing Abu's story, but I you know, when I have traveled to other parts of the world that that experience similar like I went to India, and I remember I was traveling alone. I was traveling alone as a woman, as a woman of color, as an English speaking woman of color. And I was traveling alone, and I took a very small trip on my own from a main city to a smaller city. And I was asking for advice. I was asking other friends that I'd met. I was actually at the Playback conference in India in 2019. And I had a few days to spare. And so I wanted to travel, but I was by myself. And I spoke to another playbacker in India, and they said to me, you should go to Mysore because it's safe enough. It's safe enough for you as a woman, as an English-speaking woman, as an English-speaking woman of color traveling alone in India. And I was scared, but I also felt like there was a sense of familiarity in me, in this body, feeling in danger, because I feel that, yeah, right. But when I got to Mysore, this other city, I'd stayed at a backpackers. There was a guy in India, in Bangalore, where the conference was, who helped me with everything. He helped me, a fellow conference attendee, helped me book my accommodation, book my backpackers, showed me all the ropes, showed me how to get on the train alone. When I got to this backpackers, there was a European man that was staying there. I can't remember where he was from exactly. I want to say Switzerland, but I don't know. And he was reading the news on his phone when I arrived. And I sat in the balcony and I just took in the space. And he was reading the updates on his phone, and he was just disgusted. He was like, oh, this young girl that was raped, she was now set alight and murdered by the perpetrators because her trial was starting in India. And he was like, I don't know why you ladies travel alone. Why have you come to this country? Why do you come to this country alone? And I remember just sitting there going, yeah, that's rough. And it's as rough even in my part of the world. So again, I'm just thinking of how desensitized we are to the stories of rape, to the stories of murder, to the stories of violence, to the stories of violence, essentially.
Thank you, Sheree. Just for clarity, this was during your time in India. You traveled to India for the IPTN conference end of 2019, and you traveled to Mysore, which is a town?
A town, and it's a small town, and it's a nice tourist-friendly town. Safe is what my Indian friend told me. What, she was like, this would be best for you.
And while you were there, you stayed at a backpackers, and you had a short engagement with another tourist who was sharing with you he was reading on the news other incidents that were happening in India at that time. Okay. And then after Mysore, you traveled back to South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Let's see Sheree's story in voicemail. For voicemail, we will all turn our cameras off, players. Please unmute yourself. Voicemail works similar to corridors. You can play any part of the story, including socio-political contexts and other characters. We do need to see, or hear rather, in voicemail, the teller's voice. We will leave voice messages in that format. This is Sheree's story. Stories of violence. I don't feel anything. You've reached Sheree's voicemail. Leave a message after the beep.
Beep.
Hi, Sheree, this is the IPTN conference 2019. It's in India. You've got to go there. Come. Beep.
Beep. Hi, Sheree. It's awesome that you're going to India. Give me all the details. I want to know. Talk to you later. Bye. Beep.
Beep. Hi, Sheree. This is India speaking, just like South Africa speaking. We are the structures and we are the norm of this society. Beep.
Beep. Hi, Sheree. This is Safety speaking. We're going to have to limit your travel yet again. So sorry. Beep.
Beep. Hi, Sheree. This is the South speaking. You know, we've known violence for a very, very, very long time. It's in our blood. Be careful, hey? Beep.
Sheree, this is that little like edgy feeling that sits underneath your skin and in your bones and maybe in between your organs, that you are never really safe wherever you go, even if you're alone. It's that little edgy feeling. Beep. Beep.
Sheree, this is South Africa speaking. Your home, remember? Your place of birth. I don't know what sort of violence they're promising you there in India and what gruesome facts there are, but it's all waiting for you back here. Beep.
Beep.
I am reading. Beep. I am reading. I've just seen something on the news. Some girl got raped and she was supposed to testify and they burned her. They murdered her. Like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. Why would a woman travel by herself, knowingly that this country is not safe? Why do you insist on doing that? No, man. Like, really? Beep.
Beep. Ah, Sheree, South Africa is the same. Oh, India, South Africa, crime, everything. We are used to it. Yeah, you should be scared, but nah, that's how it is. That's our life. That's our everyday thing. So, girl, just look after yourself and just travel the world and see India, how it goes. But yeah, man, that's how we live. What can we say or do? Beep.
Sheree's inbox is now full. Beep. Thank you, Sheree. So let's just take a moment and connect eyes with somebody else on the screen. Just take a moment to see who we shared with, who we played with, who we connected with. Rub your hands together. Just taking note of that sound, that texture, that temperature. of your palms, of your hands. And generate a little bit of warmth, just speed that up, a little more fire. And place this warmth somewhere on your body that needs your contact. Give a rub, give a squeeze, apply some pressure. Take a deep breath in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. Rub the wrists. Take a look at your hands for a moment, focusing on your palms. And just push yourself a little bit away from your screen so that you can see your legs, the tops of your legs. And we are going to clap our hands 3 times together on my count. Just wait for it. And after that, just beat your hands down on the tops of your thighs for a grounding moment. So give the hands a rub again. Take a deep breath in, 3 claps. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and down on the thighs. Rub your thighs, squeeze your knees. Beat your feet on the ground below you. Feel that sensation of floor against foot. Relax the feet. Roll the shoulders back 3 times. Take a deep breath in, stretch the spine, open up the chest, soften the belly. Thank you for your moments. Thank you for your stories. Thank you for coming onto this space to connect and to share disconnection. We're now going to open up for a Q&A, and I'm going to hand it over to Madeline. Everybody can come online now, turn the cameras on.
Welcome. Thank you, Tarryn, and everyone. And while everyone's turning on your cameras and getting used to being back in the space and rather than watching, speaking and taking action, I just want to say a very big thank you for doing that with us, for sharing that rehearsal process. I think those performers among us will know how terrifying that can be. And I think it was so generous and brave of you all to do that. So thank you. In more generosity and bravery, the group has agreed to stay up behind for these next 20 minutes or so to do a Q&A with us, questions and answers. I have been writing down questions and I have tons and I could fill that 20 minutes myself, but I would love to invite others to either put questions in the chat or to unmute and to ask yourselves. While you formulate questions and think about what we've just seen and experienced and what it is you'd like to question about that, I would love to ask the group how you came to do this kind of work, how each of you found your way into playback theatre and what it was about that and about this style of work that drew you in and connected you to each other. I'll open that to the entire group of Africa Connect, and whoever wants to unmute first, you're very welcome.
Thank you, Madeline. You'd like to share? Well, I think that Playback found me. I didn't seek it out. I attended an open audition here in South Africa and joined a company. And I think 13 years down the line, it has enriched my awareness as a teacher, as an applied theatre practitioner, and as a human being. I think it's given me a deeper listening. Yeah, I think being a human being should be something that we practice on a regular basis, and I think it starts with listening, and Playback has given me that gift of listening. It's something that I try to work on all the time. Bonface, go for it.
As a storyteller also, I think I come, like most of us who come from this continent, we know that storytelling is one of the assets that we have had for thousands of generations, and playback theater resonates very well with storytelling cultures. And as a piece builder also now combining that cultural kind of inherent capacity with looking at structures like the stories we have been listening to, and thinking about reimagining transformation. Playback theater gave me that kind of access as a resource, and also connecting with other intercultural groups. For example, I'm from Kenya, my colleagues are from South Africa, we have Nigerian, and there is no reason why art cannot connect us if politics can keep dividing us.
Go for it, Dwayne.
Yes, hi, my name is Dwayne. I found Playback through my very close friend that's here on the chat, Christine van Years. I started acting quite late, and as a new actor in the industry, I just wanted to do as much as I can to develop skills, and Christine invited me to Playback Theatre in Joburg, and after that I was invited to join the company because I was so impressive during that time. I'm joking, but it's a nice thing to say that life exists moment to moment. Life is a tapestry of moments. It's also nice to put it on a bumper sticker. It becomes very vague and very out into the abyss very quickly. But holding a space for someone to share their story or share a moment that's of importance to them, so important that they're willing to share it in front of a group of strangers, that brings that to life. And that's why I fell in. So Christine brought me to it, and I fell in love with it through moments coming to life and happening live. Yeah, and that's been quite meaningful for me.
I'm just gonna go there. Katala is my name. So I was invited to Playback. First of all, I've watched Playback, and I'm a trained actor. And watching Playback, I was like, what is this? Did I miss something at drama school? What is this thing? What is this? And I work in schools, I work in communities, I work with the young, old, and all ages, and all that we do, we deal with social ills. And so my work can be heavy in the head and in the heart. And it's never easy to come to Playback rehearsals, because they are in the evening, and one has had the whole day of like series of like rehearsal, teaching, facilitation, and all that. But when I realized something about myself, like right now, this time just like flew. Like just being the community, like having this space of like whereby you, like I talk, I share, whereby I can share instead of me listening. I can share, yes, I can listen to other people, but there's this also this space that I can share with people who are not gonna judge me, who just gonna actually take care of my situation or of my feelings. Like, yeah, it's like, I miss having, because it's not, I'm not the kind of person who just speak to anyone. But like this group of people, like DFL Playback Theatre Company members, like talking to them, sharing with them, like we laugh. I forget about all the sadness. So the community is very strong, I can say, the sense of the community for me.
Thank you. I see the questions are already coming in. So I think the next natural question I would love to address, which is zoomed out before we reflect on everything you just did for us, which was amazing, is that there will be a mix of people here, all of whom will be teaching artists or participatory artists, community artists. That's the ITAC network. And I know everyone in this space will have a practice of their own or an approach they use to impact positive change somehow. And I wonder if you could speak a little bit about how playback theatre is applied and what it is, how that can be utilised as a tool to create these peace building things that Bonface you mentioned, and Kathala you mentioned some children you work with. And I would love to hear about how it's applied in practice and to what end for those of us here with our own practice and approaches.
Who would like to respond to that question from the team?
Well, I mean, my personal work that I do, Bonface works very specifically around peace building, but for me, transformation of any kind in community, and not necessarily peace building, but I think when I think of peace building, and I think, what is needed for nations to build peace, for communities to find peaceful ways of being with each other, of coexisting. For me, keywords are empathy, compassion, and these are the things that playback can do, because we invite each other to collectively witness, right? We bear witness to each other's stories, and those could be everyday stories. Those could be stories of our experience of what we're experiencing as a collective or as opposing communities. We're sharing everyday experiences and experiences that we might not know of each other. And that in itself allows for us to sit, listen. We enroll ourselves as storytellers and story listeners. And then that invites us to think of the other. It invites us to empathize. It invites compassion. And I think those are the key words in building peace.
I would like to add also, thank you very much, Sherry. I think for me as a peace builder, I think the whole essence around humanization is part of reclaiming our identity and our humanness, especially when we play the stories of our enemies. We reclaim our own identities. We also, right now, we have the climate crisis. the relationship between us and nature. And right now we have global conflict between nations. So the whole idea of us versus them and enemy images become very ingrained in people's psyches. So the way to process complexity of conflict is through accessing, through storytelling, which is very cost effective. You don't need to have a lot of resources to do that, just as we have seen in these spaces. And it's something that people can be able to live and connect with one another during pandemic times like now.
This experience was an online one, and Playback moved online, I suppose, when the global north moved online. But it's also important to note that the physical Playback space, Playback in its original format, is quite an important one. The way that the space is structured, or rather boundaries are broken down. So, for example, we don't use a traditional proscenium arch theatre configuration where there is a separation between performance and audience. It is a shared open light space. There's no illusion or no theatrics in that sense. In fact, Playback can take place anywhere. We've performed out in a field, we've performed in a school classroom, we've performed in recreational centers, indoors, outdoors. And the conductor, who is the facilitator of the process, has the important job of including all throughout the process, including the voices that might be silenced socially in a particular dynamic or context, to invite those silenced voices to share if they feel comfortable, to play both sides of a topic or a theme or a challenge, whatever is being targeted or whatever is being opened up by Playback in that particular performance.
Thank you. I wonder if anyone has a question they'd like to ask. If you do, just feel free to unmute or use the little raise hand icon and I'll see you crop up.
Hi, I'm Ines, based in Argentina, Buenos Aires, Argentina. And I'm coming from dance, theater, and arts for social transformation. I feel very much connected with Africa because I'm curly hair and I'm a dancer. So that's my connection with you, and some of many Latin American roots are very much connected with African roots. Colonialism, imperialism are also roots that we share, no? Pain that we share. My question is, it was so beautiful to be part of this session of Playback Theater. And I would like to know if there's some connection in your work with Augusto's Boal Theater of the Oppressed, if you are making connections or you have some experience in that. And also, I would like you to know that there's a very interesting NGO group in Uruguay, this is next to Argentina, working on dancing and theater based on Playback theater. So if anytime you go to Uruguay, I can make connections with them.
Thank you, Ines, that's fantastic. To answer the Boal question, yes, I think the link is definitely the citizen actor. In Playback, it is the everyday citizen, just as in Theatre of the Oppressed, that is activated to create this theatre for dialogue, this theatre for voice. So there definitely is a connection, the socio-political context of both. I don't know if anybody else wants to add to that. I also just wanted to highlight that as part of the International Playback Theatre Network, I'm the regional representative for Africa. And this was one of the projects that, that Bonface and I dreamed into, to find dialogue and connection across this very big continent through playback. But I think it's really refreshing and exciting to see how playback has spread across the globe over the past 50 years and can be found in many pockets, large pockets, small pockets, cities, towns, spaces where storytelling and theatre for dialogue, for social dialogue is taking place. And I definitely encourage each of you, if you're new to playback, to take a look at the rptn.org site. It's currently, for the past few days, just under construction, so please be patient, but you can find us on Facebook, RPTN, International Playback Theatre Network.org, if you are looking for the site, or find us on Facebook. And quite excitedly, a few days ago, it was announced that the next RPTN conference in 2023 is going to be on African soil, halala, for the first time in 2023. It is coming to South Africa. It's the first time for our continent. We are over the moon. I'm seeing clapping and it's mute. Everyone's mute, so doesn't mean that we're not excited. There is excitement there. I'm seeing the movement. I'm seeing the dancing. So,
and Jonathan Fox is here, Tarryn. So,
well, Jonathan has his hand up to speak, I'm noticing. So I wonder if this is a great moment to bring you in.
Unmute yourself, Jonathan. Go for it. And welcome.
Well, it's an honor to be here, and thank you so much. It's been moving and touching to be part of this event today. And I wanted to just make a comment about playback theater and peace building, which has been discussed. And in one sense, playback theater is so simple. You know, a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old child, we do it all the time. We act out playing mommies and daddies and brothers and sisters. We all know how to act out stories of each other. But in another sense, it takes quite a bit of sophistication, and we could sense that today among the performers and the musician and the conductor, particularly when you are inviting and acting out the story of your enemy, or acting out the story of the one who is silenced. It's a very big responsibility, and it's not automatic that it turns out well. So the performers here today have put a lot of time and study into their work, and they take it, as you can see and sense, very, very seriously.
Thank you, Jonathan. I saw a question by Andrea Sandoval asking, are we going to continue meeting? So we have now turned our Africa Connect rehearsal space into a once-a-month rehearsal. So we will be meeting going forward the first Monday of every month, our little team, and we'll continue to exercise this opportunity to share and connect. And I think later in the year, Warren, we are possibly going to share our Africa Connect playing with the ICAT Africa. Am I correct, Warren? ICAT, IAC, AET Africa panel.
The International Association of Creative Arts in Education and Therapies. It's an international global new association that's grown quite swiftly over the last 2 years. And the Africa region is going to host a kind of global event featuring the talent of Africa, I suppose, and innovations in Africa. Yeah.
Onward and upward. Great.
I've had one more question come in the chat about the role of the conductor. And Tarryn, I wonder if you could speak to this a little about setting that tone for safe space and for sharing, and then repeating back what you hear and sort of summarizing in a way that captures the essence of the story for the actors. And I wonder if you could speak a little bit about how you go about summarizing respectfully, how you create that space, and how you make sure there's a sort of group ownership of what's taking place.
I think simplicity and clarity is key. Listening deeply to the words that the teller uses to share their moment or story, and using those words in concisely reiterating important facts, important details to the players. So the conductor is essentially shaping and reaffirming the important details of a moment or a story. I find that breath is a great personal resource for myself, and it's something that I remind my team to use also. I think it helps us listen if we take a moment to breathe. And also to listen, to shape, to be clear, to be concise. And research. So whatever the context is, reading and engaging with the information about a context. I don't think I have ever stopped learning about different contexts as a conductor. The world is constantly shifting and changing. And I'm not an expert. I'm just a human being with my team.
Thank you. I see we've had another question come in the chat, which I'll open up to your whole group. Do you have playback school stories in which the enemy's side is a school subject and it's giving them anxiety?
Is this related to a playback in schools? Is the context? Oh, right. So would somebody else want to answer in relation? Go for it, Jonathan.
Is it okay if I comment on that?
Yeah,
there has been quite a bit of work using playback theater in schools as an anti-bullying program. In the US, in Japan, extensively in Japan, in other European countries, including Ukraine. And it's use of playback which is specially tailored for, you know, a 48-minute session that fits into a school program. It's a little bit of a combination of playback and theater of the oppressed, in which students are not only invited to tell with the team acting out, but they're also invited to role play possibilities. So yes, playback theater for anti-bullying.
Could I ask a question just to follow on from that? Thanks, Jonathan. Yeah, I work a lot with children, and 20 years ago I used a lot of theatre for the oppressed in schools and all the rest of it. But I feel like I started diluting so much what I was doing that now I would love to read, you know, I know you've put up the link now for Playback Theatre Network. I wondered if there was a book or something really good that I could read specifically for working with children using this sort of method. I would love to read it. Thank you for everything you did tonight as well, everybody.
I'm going to assume that Jonathan, you have a good answer to that question.
I don't think there's a book expressly written for playback for children. There is a recent book out called Personal Stories in Public Spaces. Personal Stories in Public Spaces that would include some good information. And there would be, if you look up the subject online, I think you'd find a number of articles about playback in schools. Yeah.
I think there's a journal, there's a link to the RPTN journal on the site. The journal has been released over a number of years, I think about eight. Andrea, you can correct me on this, but I think there's a wealth of articles available there. Yeah, most definitely. I'm just responding to Bayla's question. Oh, right, yes, about the conference. You can find more details on the RPTN site, and I think the Facebook page, further details about the RPTN conference in 2023. Are there any other questions that I've missed?
I just wanted to say one quick thing about, there is a lot of work that has been done that links playback theater and theater of the oppressed. So I came into this work as a theater of oppressed practitioner, and eventually I got to learn about playback. So there's a very good intersection between those two art forms that is being practiced and is being used in different contexts that you might want to check and find more about.
Thank you. We only have 5 minutes left with this fabulous, very generous group who are willing to share their experiences. So if there are any more burning questions, please feel free to unmute now or write it in the chat. In the meantime, is there a way, I know you've shared some links in the chat here, is there a way for the group to follow along with your progress and to maybe social media accounts or something where we could follow and hear about any upcoming events or things that we might be able to tune into in future?
Well, definitely the RPTN info that I shared. A few of us are part of the Drama for Life Playback Theatre group based in Johannesburg. I'll just write that company name in the chat, and you're welcome to find us on Facebook and follow our events.
Thank you. And for anyone who's watching or listening this back after the fact, we'll make sure all of those links are in the show notes and in the bios. We recognize not everyone can attend at all hours, so we do archive these and people come and watch them back. So I'll make sure all of that's available.
I have a burning question.
Great.
I am involved with this group because I had been a teacher with the Lincoln Center's Focus School in the Bronx of PS 175 in New York City. And now I'm currently located in Finland. And in Finland, I've been involved with a group of educators who work with embodied understanding. So bringing dance to understanding of mathematical concepts, right? And so the majority of folks are on the Pacific coast of the States. So Canada and California, sort of that sort of area. And they're putting together like this, as people were asking for literature on playback theater, but I am curious to have, because they're compiling a list of material which is based on movement and breaking down these barriers of like this affective filters that we have, you know, like, oh, I'm afraid of this, you know, the enemy is mass, you know, so that's why I actually am the big bully in classes, because actually I'm hiding that I'm horrible at maths, you know, and so whatever. So there are various, you know, there are various pieces always to various pieces, but I'm seeing that a lot of their literature is very states focused, and I know that there is such a wealth. I was so keen. I was like, wow, and they're going to be speaking about, you know, about hearing many people's voices, and I said yes, and then like hearing traditional methods and dances from, you know, so this idea of, you know, what is there that's also outside of America and Canada sort of academia, as far as mathematics and dance and learning and learning big abstract concepts embodied in an embodied manner. So I figured I would ask artists and dancers and such, because you probably know.
So I just want to share with you, Kerry, the phenomenal work that Vozdokh does, which is an embodied movement-based playback. And Anastasia Varabiova, who's one of the founders, I'll just type the name of, she works with embodiment, movement-based playback theatre. I can't get the site right now, but she would be a great person to talk to. And in fact, I'm just going to pop my email address here, and you can drop me an email and I can share more with you, because yes, there are rich resources that are beyond our own national borders and boundaries. And I think it just opens up our scope of practice and knowledge when we bring in knowledge from beyond. There is my email address. Anyone is welcome to drop me an email.
Thank you. I would actually encourage a few people to drop your email address in there if you have an answer to that question, and then save the chat via the little function in the bottom right hand corner, because I'm conscious of time and I know, Kerry, there will be a lot of great answers to that question in this room, so I want to make sure you all have time to follow up. Being conscious of time and respectful of everyone's rushing off to other things, I think we need to wrap up here, although I'm sure we could go for another half an hour. Thank you to all for coming. Thank you so much, Africa Connect, for sharing your practice and being brave enough to invite us into your rehearsal. I think all of us have come away with about 20 different ideas of how we could implement it in our own work and our own practice. I also want to remind everyone that ITAC's conference is coming up, the International Teaching Artists Conference. It is our 6th international conference across 10 years, and this time will be in Oslo in September. We have an open call happening right now for anyone who'd like to present on the theme of art as a catalyst for change. And I'm looking around this room and I think all of you could probably keynote that conference, right? So please do think about giving something to the community, sharing some of your practice, your work. We always invite practical proposals rather than papers or lectures, because that's more reflective of our community. So something like what we've seen today would be a very, very welcome addition if that resonates with anyone here. With that being said, thank you so much. Remember the invitation I issued at the beginning. If now you've sparked something and you want to share a session, it's completely open and we would love to give you the platform to do that. Stay in touch with us, stay on our mailing list. Tarryn and the team have shared with you how to keep up with them, so please do that. We are so much stronger when we're internationally connected and responding to each other. With that being said, remember to save the chat, make sure you have these emails and these resources. I'll leave the window open for a few more minutes so you have a moment to do that. But thank you very much, and I hope to see you next week for March's think tank. So thank you very much all for coming.
Thank you so much, Madeline. Thanks, ITAC, and thank you everyone for your time and energy tonight and joining us. Take care. Bye-bye.